Welcome to Larry the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, 5 creepy, scary album covers. Halloween season coming up. It's got me thinking about this, and it got me thinking back to when I was younger and some album covers that I found to be kind of scary, but that I found alluring and attractive at the same time. All right, so the one that probably started it all for me was the first Black Sabbath album cover. I tend to like things that are pictures. I find those to be creepier or something, just have more of a mood and a vibe to them for me. And where I grew up in Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, my backyard was the woods, the forests, so I could relate to this kind of imagery. And I lived in a development, but there was a house that was kind of at the edge of the development back in the woods a little bit. And I don't know if it was abandoned. I never saw anybody coming in and out of it, so I'm assuming that it was abandoned. But it had like a little moat water thing in front of it, kind of like this. And it was an old, and it didn't look exactly like this, but it was an old house like this. And so this album cover always made an impression on me. This is a historic location that a lot of people in England, that a lot of people like to get their picture taken in front of and everything. So this made a huge impression on me. And I think it set the tone for me that I tended to like things that were more a picture rather than hand-drawn art. I always just found pictures to be able to capture a certain mood. All right, next, another picture, the Blue Oyster Cult, On Your Feet, On Your Knees, live album, the album cover. I think for me, it's churches. That's something that does it for me, seeing older buildings, churches. You add some, the picture has some like fog in it. The skies are dark and gloomy in the background, and the Cadillac here, hearse or whatever it's supposed to be in the front. I always just thought that this had a real creepy vibe to it. All right, next, I am a big fan of cemeteries and cemetery angels. In fact, what did I do with? I used to collect pictures of cemetery angels for the longest time. This is one of the few remaining ones that I have out on display. I think the rest are in a drawer somewhere. So this album cover, I always really like, The Day of Reckoning from Pentagram. It's the inside of a mausoleum. And cemeteries are scary in themselves, but I always found something about mausoleums to be even creepier and even scarier. So this album cover always had a vibe to it for me. All right, the next one, there's a story behind this. Unfortunately, my album cover is a mess. It's got this tape on it. It's got writing on it. Celtic Frost to Megatherion. This is obviously not a picture, but I always just found this image to be very, very creepy and very, very scary and ominous. I got this when I first got a record player. I wanted some records to play, and on eBay there was somebody selling a box of records. I paid $20, and there was about 30 albums inside, and they were all from a radio station. And at the time I didn't care. I just wanted some records to play. And I remember the guy sent them in this big huge box, so they were sliding around on the inside and everything. And unfortunately, the radio station, probably so people wouldn't steal them, wrote all over the covers of these albums. So the covers are in terrible condition, but like the record on the inside is in mint condition. And a lot of the records, they were like that. The records were in mint condition. They probably only played it once or maybe never played them at all. So I've always been looking for maybe somebody just selling the cover of this, or the vinyl is in terrible condition, so I could replace the cover, because this is an expensive record. And again, the vinyl itself on the inside is in mint condition and just sounds fantastic. All right, last for me, I just did a video on Merciful Fate. I always found this album cover scary. I think the combination of Merciful Fate's music and this cover, it's a little bit like, what exactly is this? Some sort of demon, some sort of monster. Tie it in with the whole lyrical theme of Merciful Fate. And when I was younger, I remember there were some older kids at my high school, and they went on a class trip to New York. We used to live an hour and 15 minutes outside of Manhattan. So they went on a school field trip to Manhattan, and I mean, this shows you the different times, right? The kids were able to walk around on their own for a while in downtown New York. I mean, no school would ever do that now. And while this one group of kids who were also heavy metal fans were on their own, they bought a copy of Melissa and a satanic Bible. And I remember them saying, "Hey, you're into heavy metal. Come here, we're going to show you this." And they opened up their book bag and they kind of looked around like, like they had something illegal in their bag. And they pulled this and I was like, "You got to hear this. This is like, the most evilest sounding thing you've ever heard." And they also had a copy of the satanic Bible. So it seems so like, I always remember that when I think of this album cover. So, all right, there you go. 5 albums for me that are kind of have a creepy, scary vibe to them. Let me know some that do the same thing for you. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of my selections. Till we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.